Welcome to the Real Estate Entrepreneurs Podcast. Today we have Mr. Mark Guerra, all the way from Houston, Texas. Mark, where are you originally from?
I was born here in Pasadena, Texas,
All
not
right,
California.
Pasadena, Texas, man. That's where I did my first flip ever
Really?
on a street called Munger Street.
Okay.
Real close to the. I think that was a middle school or maybe elementary of in between. I forgot the name of the big avenues or the streets. Maybe Spencer was one of them,
Yeah,
and
yeah. Spencer, Red Bluff, those are some of the
yeah,
big.
it's around that area, right, where the highway goes by, and it's it 225.
225. Yeah, 225.
225. Yeah, that's right. So I picked up this one house, man, from a wholesaler. His name was I don't know if you ever ran into him. His name was Jeremy Moritz.
I don't think so.
Well, back then, he was the main guy, man. Like he was the guy, like wholesaling houses all over the place, and I remember I purchased that property for $13,000,
Dang.
and the wholesaler made 9,000 on the deal.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a pier and beam house that was falling apart, and the lady had like 67 cats in it. We had to gut it and completely redid that property, but I ended up keeping it. I was like a forced landlord because this is 2008, 2009. And but long story short, I kept it for like 4 years. But yeah, that's from your backyard pretty much.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So you grew up in Pasadena as well, or
Yeah. Yeah. I was born there, grew up there, lived there most of my life till I got out of high school.
and what do you do after high school?
I was going for engineering, and but I really wasn't good at school, so I
Me neither.
failed twice. I failed first grade. I think I failed second grade. I went to college. I was failing everything pretty much, but my parents wanted me to go. So we grew up with no money. My dad's from Mexico, so he was always looking for work and things like that. So we went to San. I went to San Jacinto College because they actually give you money to go if you're low income and all that.
Yeah.
I took the money they gave me for the books and bought a car, just an old car, so I didn't even buy my books. So, but yeah, I was fortunate to get a job. I got a job right there, like contract for NASA, because I had, taken a year and they were looking for someone they're willing to kind of teach you. So I ended up getting a decent job there. But yeah, I stayed there in the Pasadena area. But yeah, I knew right away that I didn't want to be in a cubicle because where I was in a little cubicle, contract, and I had seen a show on TV where those infomercials like at 2 in the morning. I think it was like Carl Sheets or something. They had the yacht and the cars,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you can make mailbox money, and so I wanted to do that. So I bought some properties, and then I quit my job. Not immediately, but a year or so later, and I just thought I was going to retire and live off of the rental properties and then I realized that that's not as easy as it seems, and people
No.
weren't paying the rent and things like that. So, anyways, that's how I kind of started into the.
What year was this? Like when you got started?
Oh my God, this was probably like 99, 2000.
Okay.
Like when I first started getting into rental. I mean, it wasn't super big, but that's when I first started getting into some rentals. You know.
So that's when you first purchased some rental properties, and do you still have some of those, or
No, I mean I have some rentals, but not the original ones
yeah, the
from
original
way.
ones from the first wave, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So I know
I
you're
was.
buying a lot of
Yeah.
properties right now.
Oh man, I wish I would have never sold them, but you never know back then, right? When you're
Yeah,
getting started. So
yeah. I think I don't know how many properties I've bought and sold, but I wish I would have kept maybe even 25% of what I got rid of, and it would be almost four times the value now, So it's crazy how properties appreciate on a 10 to 20 year span.
oh
So
yeah.
So what do you do? So you started getting some rentals. You realized it wasn't as easy as it seemed like, right? What was the next step?
Yeah, so I actually bought 10 of them. I went to a bank and, I don't know anything. I'm still young, right out of school, but I had good credit because I hadn't had time to mess it up yet, and I
Yeah,
and I still had a good job because I did this while I had the job. And back then, you just needed to have good credit and a good job, and they'll give you a loan, And they had like 3% down, like real little, stuff like that. So I went to a bank and I told them my plan that I had seen on TV, that I was going to buy 10 houses. I was going to quit my job and I was going to live off my houses. And they didn't like that idea. And they said I can get one house, And so then I never quit. So I'm always like thinking creatively, how can I make it happen? So I think I went to like 11 or 12 banks. I went to every bank I can go to, like driving around, small banks and getting pre approvals because back then it took a while for it to hit your credit. So I was like, here's my plan. I'm going to go get pre qualified with all these banks at one time. And then I'm going to go buy all these houses at one time, and I bought as many as I could before they
yeah, to
found out.
trick the system, to trick the
I
system,
had to
right?
trick the system, man. I'm not telling you to do that now, but hey, it is what it is. That's what I did. And I was able to get these houses with little money, hardly anything. And I didn't buy them like retail either. So I did buy them at discounts and I looked for properties that, I was buying below market. And I was actually buying, the normal 3 bedroom, 2 bath, brick homes from people that, were the retired or something and they're wanting to move out of the house, older people wanting to move into retirement communities. So anyways, I did good on the purchases and everything, but when it came to the rents, I was averaging about 200. You don't make that much, $200 a month, but I thought that was my profit. But then whenever they didn't pay the rent, they called me because the AC broke and all these issues started happening. That's when I realized that I couldn't afford it because I quit my job after I bought those and I thought I was just going to live off the 2 grand a month or whatever I was getting, and that wasn't the case. I figured out real quick, you know.
Or you cash flowing like 200 bucks a month per property at the time?
Yeah, I was doing like 200 a month, but back then, that was with no bills or anything, right out
Right.
of school. I was thinking it was still pretty good, and then I mean, it was good for like 3 4 months, but then as people stopped paying and things started happening, I realized right away that that's not how I was going to be able to sustain myself, So I had to think of something different. And yeah, to answer your question, one of the people they didn't pay, they tore up the house, they disappeared in the middle of the night, and so when I went back, the house was all they had kicked every door in the whole house. Like I guess the guy beat the wife, or I don't know what was happening, but every door was kicked in. And so, fortunately, I had insurance on the house, and I did a vandalism claim or something, and I was able to
Right.
get some money. I fixed it up, and then I sold it, and I actually made like 30,000 or something because I had bought it at a good price. I rehabbed it with free money from the insurance, and then I sold it. So I was fortunate on that first house, and that's kind of how I started thinking. Well, maybe instead of rentals, I should just fix houses up and sell them. So that was like
Right.
kind of how it got me into going into that route,
Into the
also.
fix and flip game.
Yes, sir.
So you've been in fix and flipping for a very long time, Mark. I didn't know that about you. I mean, I knew you. I think I noticed you around Houston somewhere around maybe 2018, when you guys were starting to promote the owner finance company, right? Uh,
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
but I didn't know you have been rehabbing for like that long.
Yeah, yeah. I actually got into new construction. I did a few rehabs because, like I said, I had to kind of get rid of some of those houses I had bought because I couldn't
Yeah.
afford them. I didn't. I mean, I don't regret anything. It was a learning experience. That was my college, right? So on
Yeah,
some
and
of them,
you didn't have a. Did you have a mentor at the time that showed you how to do this, or?
not like in person, but I had many, like I was real big on personal development, audible books, and I would buy courses. There were cassette tapes back then, so
Yeah.
I'd buy these courses. And remember the Rich Club? I would go to the
Yes.
Rich Club, yeah, Real Estate Investment Club of Houston. So I would try to get as much knowledge as I could. But yeah, I went into new construction after that. So I fixed up a few, and then I was like, well, if I'm doing this, I might as well like just build a house, like go build a brand new house. And so
Right.
got into that.
And how was that journey? Because then I'm assuming once you started building brand new homes, you hit 2008 at some point, right?
That's why you didn't see me for for a while.
For a while, you have to disappear.
Yeah, it disappeared. No, actually, it was even worse than that. So my first brand new home, I think I lost like 30,000. My second one, I still lost like close to 20. I think on the third one, the third house I built was when I finally broke even on a house. But I didn't make any money probably till my fourth house that I did because I had never built a house or anything. I didn't know, but I was willing to try, right? I was willing to not give up, and I never gave up. I thought rentals was a thing. I started doing some fix and flips. I started doing new construction, but I knew that going to work was not gonna be the solution to helping my family get out of where we were at. We didn't have no money growing up. I lived in an old church, that they let my dad like live in, and we would shop at Goodwill and stuff. It was called Purple Heart back then, right there. And we were on food stamps, and I remember somebody came to our house and brought us groceries, and I was real happy, and my dad was like kind of not wanting to accept it because he was like, it, I kind of embarrassed, like I can't provide, And so,
Right.
anyways, all this stuff is in my mind, and I'm like, I know that the job doesn't work because that's what my mom and dad had. They were working all the time trying to, have enough money for us, and so I wanted to do something different and better, and that's why I never quit, And in new construction, eventually I did start making money. And I ended up getting pretty big in it, and I kind of skip a lot of stuff because I tried probably like 10 different businesses at the same time as doing real estate, everything you can think of, car dealerships, but never employee stuff. It was always, I opened my own businesses. Like I was trying to open different businesses. My first business was actually in the 11th grade, and it was a video company. Because I used to work for a video guy in the summers, like as his assistant, and I was seeing what he was doing, and he was charging like $900 to do a wedding and paying me $50. So again, my entrepreneur mind, I was like, well, wait a minute, why don't I do the videoing and charge
Yeah.
the $900 instead of making $50? And so I worked for him for like almost a year, and then he upped me to like $100. But he would go on vacation now that I knew what I was doing, and he would say, "You shoot the wedding, you do everything, you bring it back to me, and I give you $100." And so I opened up my own company in the 11th grade. I asked the principal if I can video the prom. I told them I would do it for free if they let me sell the cassettes in the cafeteria, the video cassettes
Right.
for like 19.99. And man, I made like 2,000 something dollars just selling the cassette. For me, that was a whole lot of money. This is in high school, so that was my
Oh,
first company.
I don't think I ever had $2,000 in high school. you know.
That was like crazy. I was all excited, and so I learned a lot from that. And then I actually built it pretty big, even after high school because I was doing the proms. I started doing different high schools and things like that. I got into the wedding industry, mainly doing videos for weddings, and then when it got too big and I hired other people, I realized that other people don't care as much as the business as the owner does.
Right.
And when you're videoing a wedding, it's a very important moment, and it's a one shot you get. And if you mess up their wedding, it's like a real big deal. And so one time, one of the video guys, they messed up the whole thing, but they had some lighting issues on some parts of it, and I had to refund the money, and I felt worse for the bride and groom versus I didn't care about the money. It was my reputation and stuff. That's always been big for me. And so I gave the money back. I said, if that happens again, I'm selling the company. And it happened one more time, like months later, and I just got out of that business. But that's where I learned it's so hard with employees for me, like to manage employees. But anyway, like I told you at the beginning, I could talk forever. But that's how I tried all these different businesses. But every time it would always come back to real estate. Everything that always happened, it always come back to real estate because I knew that real estate was where I needed to be. And so I really focused on I failed at a lot of businesses, but I kept trying. And new construction did real good for me till 2008. But just to give you a little story, I went from nothing with no money, from going up and down, up and down, up and down. Supportive wife, I got married and she was very supportive of me. Even when I had no money, and then I had money, then I had no money. But in 2008, like right before that, I was building about 20 houses at a time, three different subdivisions. I had almost $1 million model home. I had just designed and built my own hotel, cash extended stay hotel in Victoria, Texas, that I owned. And then 2008 happened, and I lost everything. I lost all the house. I lost it, and it wasn't because of me. It was because I had all the houses sold. Because back then everything was I had Countrywide in my model home in house. I had the architects. I had everything in house, and then they just stopped answering the phone. And this is a true story. The guy that was in house committed suicide. That was for Countrywide, and so they didn't pay me for any of the houses I sold. But I still had construction loans on 20 something houses, and they
Wow.
weren't paying me. And I was making the payment on auto pay out of my account on all those loans, and my all my money was just disappearing because I didn't want to not pay the payment. And then fortunately, the lenders called me and said I could just sign the houses back to them because it was happening to everybody. They didn't even put on my credit, and so I just gave them the houses, but they all had equity. They had all my equity in there too, and I just gave everything to them. So yeah, I got completely out of everything in 2008 and 9, and I was broke.
So what was the next step for you?
So I moved back to Houston because I was a big builder over there in Victoria, Texas, a couple hours away from
Yeah.
Houston. And I moved back to Houston, a person that had never rented before. I went straight to buying houses right out of high school. I couldn't even rent a house. My credit was still screwed up because I had actually co-signed for my brother on a house. He lost that house. It was like 400 something thousand. So I had like a judgment. Like I had all that. My whole credit was all
Four
messed up.
hundred thousand back then. That's a big house.
Yeah, it was a lot of money, and so you can imagine no one's gonna sell me a house, no one's gonna rent me a house. So for the first time, I had to go to try to rent a house. No one would rent it. I literally had to pay for like 6 months up front to convince this guy, negotiation skills, to rent me the house and pay like probably 400 or 500 more than what it was worth, for the rent.
Wow.
And yeah, it was just bad. But I got into renting. I became a renter, and I understood that I didn't want that for anybody else because it's such a pain when you're a renter. And so, yeah, I mean, I lost everything. And what I did was the hotel that I had built over there, I had bought because I was making money. I bought myself. I had a Hummer H2 SUT, the when the first little pickup one came out,
Yeah.
not the H3, but the H2. And then I had bought a Hummer limo cash for the hotel. So when I lost everything, I had that limo. So I joke around with people. I was like, I had somewhere to live in the hotel, and I had a car, I had the limo. I lost everything else, right? But seriously, I came back to Houston with the limo, rented the house because I had the limo, I owned it, and it was free and clear. So then I started a limousine company because I had a limo, and it was called Platinum Limo Services. I had to do something. So I was a limo driver. I went from owning all these houses, owning a hotel, making all this money, going back down to becoming a renter with no money and trying to hustle for money every week just to make the payments by driving people in the limo. I was the actual driver. I would wash the limo, clean the limo, and I had to slowly start to work myself up. I knew that wasn't going to be like the way to get out of it, but it was something. And once you've been self-employed and at that position, I told my wife, I told everybody, I'm never going to get a job. I don't care what it is because you could never make enough money hourly anyways. Like I could work 24/7 and I'll never make enough money for what our lifestyle, what we had before, to try to even get out of that. So I knew it had to be some type of business that I had to do. And so I did something that I'd never done before and I didn't like and I thought I would never do, but I joined an actual network marketing company. So I was the person that was against network marketing. And it's not really that I had anything bad about it. I just didn't want to be selling things to people that they didn't really want. I didn't want to
Right.
be that type of a salesperson. Um, but the funny thing is that my mom, she was in Tupperware, So when I was growing up, like I said, we didn't have no money. So my dad was working, my mom had a job, and she was doing Tupperware on the side, trying to make money. So she was always gone. But they had all these like personal development cassettes and personal development and like sales training cassettes and all this stuff. And when I was little, she would play those while she was at the house, packing the Tupperware stuff to give to people. And so when we would drive places, I was still a little kid. I would hear them when she was delivering the Tupperware, and I told her, I mean, and who does lifetime warranties on stuff? She was driving around replacing bowls for people, making no money. You make no money. I was like, so I didn't get the whole network marketing thing. But the only reason I decided to try this company is because it was not a product, it was a service, and it was something that you can't live without. It was an electric one, like an electric company,
Yeah,
network marketing.
Ambit, right?
Yeah, Ambit Energy.
Ambit
So
Energy. Yeah, I used Ambit for I don't know how long, honestly. And he was a friend of mine that was in network marketing that got me in it. And now I was never a promoter. I was just a client. And she was in Florida. She lived in Florida. So how she got into Ambit, I have no idea. But she's like, "You live in Texas?" And I'm like, "Yeah." "Okay, I got something for you." And I was like, "What's that?" Power. And she went and got me an Ambit. And I used Ambit for years. Um, I would say maybe 12 years, 13 years or something. Then my wife switched over. I don't know why, but um, great company for what I know. And I know a lot of people made a lot of money with Ambit.
yeah, yeah, and besides the money, I mean, a tip, some advice I would give to anybody. I mean, it, the most valuable thing that I got from it was all the personal development, personal growth. Um, that company, and I'm sure it goes with most network marketing companies. They're big on personal development,
Brother,
and
I'm a network marketing guy, man. I did Visalis, which was they used to call it the 90-day challenge, where you take these protein shakes and then you lose weight and that, and you get fit. And I got ranked in there. Like, I forgot what my rank was, but I was a six-figure guy in Visalis. And then I went to Junes. And in Junes, they had this little cream that you put on your eyes, and it eliminates your eye bags. So it was,
okay.
bro, instant gratification. Like, you can sell that so easy. It wasn't, and we had I think my downline in Junes was like maybe 5,000 people, because it was international. So we had people all over in Colombia and other places, right? And I did like four or five companies that I grew, pretty good. I think if I had to do it all over again, and or let's say tomorrow I had to start from zero, I would probably find a good network marketing company and get going, because you can build teams, and like you said, the personal development. I think the most important thing out of all network marketing companies is how much people grow because of the personal development growth. If they have good leadership, they're going to promote personal development. And I think in most of the companies I was a part of, they always brought like John Maxwell and people like that to talk to us and not motivate us, because it's not about, I don't think it's about motivation. It's more about changing paradigms, right? Like, how you change your way of thinking, and how do you visualize into the future, and make things happen, for you. Um so yeah, network marketing companies, if for the most part, the good ones, they are very strong on personal development.
Yeah, I agree exactly with what you said. If I ever lost everything again, hopefully that'll never happen. But if that ever happened, I would do the same exact thing because it's a place where you can go with no money and make a lot of money quickly. You're not getting paid hourly. But I agree with the growth part. I was a totally different person. I'm like, 200 times better in all the different qualities I had. I used to be scared to speak in front of people, even two or three people, and now because they kind of, they don't force you, but they train you, and they brought John Maxwell, all these leadership people, Dan Hardy, all these mindset, like you're saying, and personal development, and they encouraged us to get in front of the room. And communication, I believe, is the most valuable quality that you can have right now, and that's how you can make unlimited types of money if you become a master in communication. That's what you're doing with communicating right now with the audiences. But that to me was the most value, and I made millions of dollars, by the way, in Ambit Energy. I am currently the number four earner in the company, and I have not done anything, and I'm not recruiting, I'm not like active, but I continue to get paid, and my team continues to grow. I have over 17,000 people in
Wow.
my organization, and that's just in Texas and like one other state. So it's not even in the whole world. But it's because I learned so much about leadership and all these skills that now apply in all my other businesses that I do. That's why I owe it so much to that company, because I learned all that and I
How
learned
many
how to.
clients are on your downline, Mark? Like people that are flipping the switch.
Yeah, I think I have over like 18,000 clients. I have because I have 17,000 consultants. So a lot of people don't do anything, but
Yeah.
clients is almost the same. Like it's like 18,000 customers, or I don't know. I still get paid for it, but I haven't recruited. I haven't even put a customer in years. But I appreciate the company and everything. But I'm just at a different doing different things right now.
Wow. Yeah. I think I had. I remember for a while I wasn't paying my energy bill because I had referred people to Ambit.
Yeah, free energy. Yep.
Yeah, so I had free energy for a while. I don't know how long I was like that because people started dropping off and changing companies and all that. But I remember they had like a referral program where I said, hey, sign up here, and the client will come to my account, and then I don't know. I don't remember if it was 10 people for me to get my electric bill for free, but it's something like that.
Yeah,
But
I
that's
know
why I
the
wonder, like, how many clients do you have? Because if you got 17,000 reps,
15.
you know, maybe one of those, a few of those reps are gonna enroll quite a few people themselves, right?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. With 15 customers, you get the free energy credit that they give you.
Okay,
Yeah, I've had that for a long time.
for a really very long time. So your energy bill is free.
Yeah, the energy part of it is free, and it's funny because I learned so much because I don't even know what the rates are. I don't know what the plans. I don't know what any of that stuff is. But I know how to build a team because of what my leaders and mentors and stuff taught me in there, and I took everything I learned from Ambit and put it in practice in my current businesses, and I like that model that you can recruit people or bring people on your team, build a team, and I don't have to pay them. The company pays them. So that's like employees that are making money, and you make money when they make money. So I like that kind of concept. So what I've done in bringing what I learned there into all my different companies that I own is I've given away half of all my companies. So all the companies I own, I gave half of the companies away to the people that run the companies, and I give them the opportunity, right, to change their lives and make money. And then no one's ever going to work as hard for you as you will for yourself. But when they're owners of the company, then they're going to work more. So I took all that kind of thing and I started incorporating into the companies that I have now, and it's worked really well.
Yeah, they got skin in the game. I
Hmm.
remember on I think you spoke on my event in 2022, and that's what you spoke about on how to grow wide with your associates and by making them partners in your companies, and that's when I understood your model. I was like, oh, no wonder why he grows fast, because he's got a bunch of partners that he's working with, and they're all pretty smart too, because they're like, hey, they see the opportunity, they jump on it, and on this case, Jen and Val, they're part of your the owner finance company, which is the one that I'm more aware of. I don't know the other ones you have. I know you got the 1% club too, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Um, but yeah, I remember that speech, and somebody told me at that event that throughout the whole weekend, your speech was the best speech they heard the whole weekend, and that's pretty hard to top, man, because there were some pretty good speakers that weekend in that event. But you open up their mind too, like, okay, you can do more when you actually partner up with people and grow that way. Um, so, all right, so you grow in Ambit, you became a multiple. I guess they call them seven-figure earners and all that, and you grew a big downline and a big team. When is it that you got re-engaged back into real estate, and how did that happen?
Yeah, so I worked at differently, of course, than everybody else. I treated the business like a real business, and I believe that that's why I became the fastest person to hit the top of the company. Is because I just looked at everything differently. I always like to be different, and that's why I have the 1% club, because I'm like 99% of the people are going this way, doing that. I want to be the 1%. You
I'm
know,
like you, brother. Hey, man, when I see everybody doing something, man, that's not what I want to do.
sometimes I just did it on purpose. I just wanted to say the opposite of whatever everybody else was saying when I was doing my trainings, right? Then you attract people because you're different than what everybody else is doing. But yeah, so once I got to a point where I didn't have to work anymore, and things were going good, and then in any business, it don't matter what it is, all of a sudden sometimes you can't make as much money as you could at the very beginning. So I've been in ambit, I don't know, like 14 years or something. So when you got in at the beginning and there was less competition, there was less electric companies competing,
Right.
it was easier to make a lot of money way faster. And so what happens is, over time you can still make money, but you couldn't make the type of money that I was making and that I wanted for my people, because I got addicted to helping people because of Ambit. Prior to the network marketing, I just cared about me and making money. It changed my whole mindset and everything. It was more about giving, helping. The secret to me, that I would do a training in Ambit, I would tell them the secret to becoming the most successful person in your network marketing business is when you start to care more about the person's success that you're helping than you. Once you care about their success more than you care about yours, then that's when you can really become truly successful. And so, with that being said, I couldn't tell people to join my team and that I can have them accomplish what I accomplished in that short of a time anymore, because the opportunity wasn't there to make that kind of money that fast. At least I felt that for the most people, you couldn't do that. And so I've always loved real estate, and I was able to, now I had money, I had time, I had everything to go back into what I really love to do, which was real estate, in Ambit, I really love to change people's lives and help people make money and quit their jobs and all that kind of stuff. And what other vehicle can help you do that besides real estate? Real estate, you can create that passive residual income that you want, that everybody's looking for. And I was able to do that with that company, but I didn't know I could do it as fast anymore. But in real estate, I could do it really quickly, So that's why I started getting back into real estate. Also, I needed to have write-offs and a lot of stuff from all
Yeah.
the money they're sending me over there. And so I got back into it, and then it just kind of blew up from there, because like I said, I got addicted to helping people. And in real estate, I've done it forever, like 26 years. So I can literally, I can change people's lives, just like you can, right? I can coach somebody, teach them exactly, and give them a shortcut to where they can go from making nothing to making $5,000 to $10,000 a month in passive residual income, like super quickly, confident with, I mean, I can hand it to them, because I've been doing it and I have all the systems in place and everything. So it gives me a lot of joy. I found out that that's my passion. That's what I should be doing. That's my calling. That's what makes me happy. And so that's why I'm back in real estate, and I'm going hard, and it's all about paying it forward. I was not doing any social media or anything, or I don't even know how to do these things. This is like probably the second podcast thing I've ever been on, but I'm only doing it because I want to force myself to grow more so I can give more, so I can share what we've learned with as many people as we can. And to be able to do that, you got to get on social media, you got to be able to get on these big platforms so you can spread the message and help as many people as you want. And that's my goal for 2025, is to really help as many people as I can, to learn what it took us all these years to learn, all the dumb things we did, all the mistakes we made and everything. We can help
And
other
I
people.
made so many mistakes, right? But you know what, Mark? I really don't regret any of that. Um, the houses I lost money on, when Harvey came in, and I had 47 flips going, and I mean, I went down hard just like you did in 2008. That was 2017 and 18 and 19 for me, and I was going through a lot of that stuff. It's just that a lot of people didn't know about it. That's why I became a wholesaler. I had to wholesale my way out of all that private money I had borrowed, that eventually I ended up paying, I would say 99% of it. There's always that 1% that is never going to be happy no matter what you do. And I had to deed properties back to lender. I mean, that's something that I don't wish on anybody, right? When you have to go and call your private money guy and say, "Hey, man, you either take the property or I don't know what else to do with it. Nobody wants to buy it on a wrap. Nobody wants to rent it, or it's unfinished for whatever reason." Um, and most of my lenders were, I guess, they were understanding of the situation, but some of them didn't, right? So I became a wholesaler by necessity. I had to go and move from flipping to wholesaling because I needed to create money fast to pay off all these people and to offload those loans, right? And sometimes people ask me, it's like, "Will you go through it again?" I say, "You're damn right I would," because that's what got me to where I am today. If I had to go through that journey, and now I can tell people when I see them, maybe buying too many houses in one area, or like I would never buy that many properties. I know that you're buying a lot of properties right now, but in my case, if I had to go on a buying spree again, I wouldn't buy them all in Houston, just because Houston floods and we get a little bit of rain, and when it floods, it's chaos, right? So what if you have 40, 50 properties on private money again, and now you're dead in the water for well, Harvey was a kind of like a one on a lifetime kind of storm, right? Because I was dead in the water for, I mean, 36 months probably. Like we lost all of our crew. The problem to us was we lost all of our crews. It wasn't the storm itself damaging the houses. It was not having labor available to fix up all these properties. And every month you got to pay those interest payment loans, right? So um, I guess I would do the same, but I would go buy properties in other cities and other areas and kind of diversify, the risk. All my risk was like in one area, so it's very scary when you see it happening. Like I wasn't scared, but it's like my partners were scared, so they didn't want to buy more because I knew if I bought more, I probably got out of that hole. But Dennis didn't want to do it, and Jose didn't want to do it. So, anyhow, I became a wholesaler, and because I became a wholesaler, and we were dealing, man, a lot of properties wholesaling. That's how I started with VAs overseas. And then people are asking me for VAs, and I'm like, I don't know, those are my guys, but that is my main business now. It's providing VAs to other people. So um, the universe takes you through a weird path, and sometimes you end up in a business that's completely on, that you have no idea that you were going to be a part of. So I never intended to open up a call center. It just happened. But now I understand the call center, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. This is a sellable business, number one. I can get 3x for it if I sell it, or if I put a software in it and on recurring payments. Now I can get 12x because it's a technology company, and those are big numbers, man. You can't do that on real estate. In real estate, you have to wait for years to either build the equity or pay down the loans, and also the appreciation and the depreciation, right? Those are the main four that we get with real estate. Don't get me wrong, I'm still a real estate investor, right? But now my focus is somewhere else. It's like in other types of businesses, which takes me to what you're doing now, right? So what are your main focus in real estate? Because I know you guys do the owner finance company, which is um, basically is funding for those that normally don't qualify for a loan. If I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah, yeah, correct.
And you have a lot of partners in there because I understand the mechanics behind what you guys do with how you originate those loans. Basically, is with
Hmm.
partners and the buyer putting the percentage down and all that. So you have to partner up with a lot of people. Can you tell me a little bit about how that business functions from finding somebody I don't know, become your loan partner, for instance, and then finding your buyer that's got the 20% or I don't know what percentage you guys are requiring nowadays, because I know things change all the time. But can you tell me a little bit on the mechanics on the owner finance company?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No problem. Yeah, that's one of our bigger companies. We've had that one a little over 5 years, and like you said, my partners are Jen and Valerie in that company.
Beautiful
Um,
ladies too, man. They're
yeah,
and
they're awesome. They're
no, and
awesome.
their energy, man. Their energy is so good. Like they're always like happy and like eager to work with people and networking at the event. So I love seeing them around.
Yeah, they're the best partners you can have. They're really awesome. They pretty much run that whole company. I meet with them once a week just to do a little board meeting to see if they need anything, but they pretty much run the whole thing now. That's what I try to do, get all these companies where they're running on their own. But in that company, we're kind of just like a bank, like you say, it's for people that can't qualify for whatever reason. Um, when I started the company, it was to help people like myself, my parents, that we could never own our own home because we didn't meet the criteria of the banks, that they want you to have. Then, as I became self-employed, like most of the people listening and people that are doing what we're doing, it's almost impossible to get a loan because we don't have a paycheck. We don't have that W-2 to be able to qualify for the loan, and of course we're not going to pay taxes because we're in real estate.
The stability of the job, right?
Yeah, yeah, and even if you're making a lot of money, because we lend on two, three, four, $5 million homes for people that make millions of dollars, but they only go off of lenders go off of what you paid taxes on.
Yeah.
So not what you made, but the little part after you write everything off that you make on. So we've been able to help a
I
lot of
hope
people get into homes.
I hope Trump changes that, man.
Yeah, right. Yeah, definitely, definitely. But we're helping people get into homes no matter what the situation is. So they come to us just like a bank. We pretty much approve everyone as long as they can prove ability to pay. We don't care about credit or socials and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so the way I started the company was to be able to help people to get a good deal and not to get ripped off because the other owner financing companies out there, all the ones that I know of, they add to the price of the home. So if you go and find a house for 300 and you want to buy it, they'll buy it for you for 300 and sell it to you for 325, 350, 375. It's anywhere from 15 to 25% on top of what they're buying it for. So I opened this company to be able to do it with zero. So I was the only company that will you go find a house for 300, well, even if it's worth 400, we'll buy it for 300 and sell it to you for 300. We don't add anything. So because of that, no advertising, no marketing budgets, no nothing. Just it grew on word of mouth referrals. And the way I did it is shared the wealth. So we just wanted to be the lender at the beginning. The company, the owner finance company, was created to be a lender, and I was an investor. So I wanted to be the investor on the loan. So uh, if we got let's say 80% loan, and the client was going to put 15% down, then somebody had to come up with the other 50, the other 5%. So an investor can come in and put that 5%, so the client doesn't have to put as much. So it's a little confusing to explain the whole thing,
No, no,
but
no.
I
I get
created
it.
it.
I'm running.
You
I'm
get it. I
running.
know you get it, but people
Yeah.
listening might be like, what the hell is he talking about? But either way, I gave the opportunity for investors to partner in on the deal and be able to put that 5% that the client needed or 10%. So if we wanted to move more houses, we
Now
would let people.
that 5% or the 10% will is that like a second note or how do you structure that in the deal?
Yeah, so what we would do is, and we do it way differently now, but that at the beginning
Right.
we would have the investor get the loan, so they would actually buy the house, put the
Right.
5%,
So
and do
let's say
everything.
I'm the investor, and
Yep.
I have a good job, a nice W-2, work in the oil and gas industry, and I call you and say, Mark, I want to do business with you. What do I need to do to get involved with the owner finance company? They say, Ricardo, just get pre-approved for a loan. This is the loan officer. I go and submit my paperwork. They say, yep, you're approved for. Is it conventional or FHA? Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, yeah. So they could do it either way. They were doing it like conventional loans because they had good credit and things like that.
Right.
They have a job. Most of these investors had a W-2. So basically, what our company was created to do is bring you a deal on a silver platter. So if you're a normal investor, you have to go find the house, you got to fix the house, you got to then try to sell the house, you got to put money down, you got to do all this stuff. So what we did was we would bring you everything on a silver platter. Here's the house, here's the buyer, here's everything's already done for you. All you have to do is now buy the house, but it's already sold, right? So the investor would step in, qualify for the loan, purchase the home, and then they would sell the home. But instead of you selling it to the end buyer, because I created this for the perfect deal for an investor. I don't want to deal with anybody. I just want money. So we put ourselves in the middle of the investor and the end buyer. So we bring you the deal, you get the loan, you buy the house, then you sell it to us and we sell it to the end buyer. That way we're in the middle. We control everything. We qualify the buyer. We do the owner financing to them. We collect the payments, escrow taxes, everything. And the safety for you is you gave the loan to us, not to them. So whether they pay or not, you always get paid. And our stuff is on auto pay, whether they pay us or not. So it was like if you could dream up the perfect deal for an investor, that's how we created the company because we were investors. So we created the company for us. But we can't take all the deals. If we have 20 deals coming in a month, we can't afford to qualify at the beginning for 20 homes a month. So we were sharing the wealth with my parents, like other family members and everything. Then we started opening it up to friends, and then they told people, and that's how we got a lot of investors. That was at the beginning. Now that we've grown over the years, we're able to handle almost all our loans ourselves to where we can fund everything. But we still have these original investors that started from the beginning. So we still give them deals every once in a while, but it's kind of cool that we get to keep most of our deals now for the company,
Yeah,
you
and you
know,
make more money on the spread, right? Because that's at the end of the day, that's where you make the profit is on the difference in
on
between
the cash flow.
the cash flow on the note. I mean, you're in essentially you're a note investor.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and
But
on
before we didn't get any of that. We gave 100% to the investor, by the way. So when we did all those deals, the investor that came in, they got 100% of the spread. So we were helping the investor was getting the sweetest deal ever.
so you were making money on the I guess on fees or
Loan origination only. So we were only making our loan origination fee, and the investor made everything. So they loved us. They're making like huge returns because they're
wow,
using leverage. Remember, so
yeah,
they're making crazy returns. So yeah, they're really excited about it. So
good. So today, like interest rates, people say they're high, but to me they're like normal. Because I remember back in the '90s, interest rates were 7, 8%, 9% in some cases.
mhm.
Which is we're today we're probably up somewhere around 6, 5, 6, 7, something like that. What does a loan from the owner finance company look like on interest wise for let's say for Jose, who's a landscaper, he's got the percent, the money down to put, and he gets qualified with you. What kind of interest rates are they looking at?
Yeah. We've always tried to be very fair with everything. Like I said, we don't add anything to the price of the home, and our rates are very competitive. Right now, the rates just went up a little bit for us. I don't know if you know, but yeah, they're like seven something right now. So they did go up a little bit, but we're still at 9.9. So we're 9.9%.
You're only 2 points on top of the normal rates, and they can always go refinance later on. So this is an asset that allows them to get into the home, own the property, and then once they're bankable, they can go and refinance the property.
Yeah, exactly. And we report to the credit for them. So once they've been paying on time for 12 months or 24, then they can refi anytime they want. But you're correct. They can go refi, get a lower rate. Right now the rates are kind of high for everybody. Even I mean, because that seven is with perfect credit. Who has
Yeah,
perfect credit, right? So they're going to be somewhere in the eights anyways. So um, what I tell people, because I learned it the hard way, like lots of years ago, I listened to my old CPA, and they're like, okay, well, if you want to get the best rate, this is a good tip for everybody, like not just investors, homeowners, as self-employed people. They were like, you have to pay your taxes for 2 years, take those 2 years tax returns to the bank, and show that you paid enough on taxes so that you can qualify for the house you want, so you can get that rate, the best rate. So I was thinking best rate. So I paid 80 something thousand in taxes one year, 90 something thousand the next year, just so I could go buy my dream home, right, and get the best rate. And then after I learned everything that I know now, I was like, I was such an idiot because to save 1%, because now I know that you can get with nothing, no tax returns, no nothing, you can get a DSCR loan. You can get different types of loans that all you need is good credit and 2 months bank statements and no tax returns, no job, no nothing, 1% higher. So think about it, 1% on a loan, and I paid 80,000 and 90,000. That's like
That's
180,000.
200 grand,
Never
man.
gonna get that money back. I'm never gonna get that money back. And I didn't have to pay that because I was in real estate. I could have like depreciate, use things to depreciate that. So, anyways, the point is you don't have to pay all these taxes. Just go somewhere and get a loan. Even if the rate's a little higher, it's cheaper than having to pay all those taxes.
Yeah, because if you have 20% down for a DSCR loan, right? Because the SCR will go until what, 85 maybe, 80, 85%.
Yeah, it has gone up to 85. As the market goes down, they drop. Right now, they're at 80 max. But once the rates go down again, they'll go back up to where you can get up to 85,
Yeah.
on those.
So I mean, $600,000 home. Let's do a math, which is a pretty big house in Houston, by the way. Uh,
Hmm.
which I don't think I would ever buy a house that expensive in Houston anymore. Let me tell you why. Is the taxes are so ridiculous. I remember I had a house like that, and I was paying almost $2,000 a month in taxes. It's like that's another mortgage.
Oh my God.
Um, but 20% is 120 grand. You finance the rest for one, 8% or something like that, and you're still within the number. Um, so that's what you guys do with the owner finance company. You help people that normally wouldn't qualify for a loan get on a loan and qualify for a property, right? Um, but what else do you do in the real estate world? Like I know you buy rentals because you bought a. I remember you bought a multi-family unit from us last year or something like that we had. Um, that it was all tangled up with another wholesaler, but eventually we ended up being able to do the deal. Do you keep that for rentals or what do you do with that one?
Yeah, so what I learned, like you said, whenever you go through all these different things and then you run in and you learn new ways to make money that are easier, easier ways to make money, higher multiples. So now what I do is I'm all about lending and leveraging and financing. So everything I buy, I sell it, but I sell it with owner financing. And this is outside of the owner finance company because owner finance company is a straight lender. You come because you want to buy a house, you sell it. These are like I buy the house, I'll fix it up, and then I'll sell it. I also do multifamily, small stuff, fourplexes, things like that. But I sell them to other investors, and I finance it to other investors. So other people that want to get into real estate, they want to own rental properties and things like that. We'll finance it for them to where they can still make money on it, but no one else is going to finance it to them because tax returns or whatever they can't qualify, but they can still make money. But what I'm doing right now that is really crazy and beneficial is that I'm purchasing brand new homes from the builders at 20% below value. Brand new homes.
How are you doing that?
It took a long time. So it took time to build those relationships and to prove to them that I can come and buy out their subdivisions. So like I've bought 30 homes in the last 30 days,
Oh
and
wow.
I'm buying brand new homes at 20% below. I buy from DR Horton, Lennar, Century Communities, Saratoga Homes. I'm buying from all these builders, and then I'm able to pass that on. I'm not even a wholesaler, but now that I'm doing more of the pay it forward and teaching and coaching, mentoring, I'm giving these to my students. I formed a community. Well, the 1% Club, Everything Real Estate. We
Yeah.
now formed a community on school, and it's joinmarkguerra.com that you can go to, and it's free. And so now I'm offering these out to the community, and I'm doing it to help. It's not about the money or anything to me. um, a wholesaler would probably not give you like a $400,000 house that they're getting for 300 for 310, right? So, so we charge a flat fee of $10,000 just to cover our overhead because now I have a bunch of people and I have a big overhead.
Right.
Um, but you already know as a wholesaler, you're not going to just charge 10 grand on a big brand new home with home warranty, appliances, everything that you're getting at a $80,000 off, and stuff like that. Then another thing I do is I also offer 100% financing to the investors. So I give them a brand new home with 20% below value, and I'll give them the loan also at 100% financing, and I don't check anything. No credit, no nothing, no ability to pay. They can open an LLC tomorrow. I give them the property and finance it to them on a full 30-year loan.
And
So these are
what's the interest rate on that?
9.9%
Okay, that's not bad. I mean,
financing.
yeah, maybe you got a client on me, Mark. I'm gonna tell my wife to go house shopping tomorrow.
I was trying to keep them all. I'm not gonna lie, but there's no way I can keep this many houses. You know what I'm saying? There's like too many. I'm buying so many houses. I have at any given time 25 to 30 houses in inventory, like all brand new homes and things like that I'm selling. You know, on a
Okay.
finance.
Now, now these are houses that you negotiate, you buy, and then you go resell.
Yes,
But what if somebody wants to go buy a brand new home that's built?
these are already built. They're all built.
Yeah, but let's say I don't know. I live in Katy. I don't know where you're getting these houses at, and I go
Yeah.
to I don't know one of those subdivisions there, and I said, "Hey, Mark, I like that house there." Now, do you go negotiate with them that 20% off, or it's just on a deal per deal basis as they come to you?
Yeah, so I have to buy a minimum. So I have to buy at least normally like 15 houses at one time, cash.
Oh,
So I can't just go pick one house. I have to buy like a whole bunch of them at one time. That's why I
understood.
said I built this community. So we all work together. We could take advantage of this deal that's never been available. I mean, we've been doing this for 26 years and you've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah,
And I've never seen a time where I can just go buy brand new houses in all different price ranges. I've bought brand new houses at $112,000 brand new with appliances and everything to 212, let's say. And these are like $300,000 homes and stuff like that. So this was never available before in my lifetime. And I don't think it's going to be here again either. Once rates go down, everything's going to go back, to being crazy. So
man, that's something you should talk about at the event, brother. Like, I'm pretty sure that you can create a lot of get more people to join your vision on what you're doing right now with those brand new homes. We're gonna have close to 400 people this time, so um, it's gonna be pretty good. And so the 1% club, let's talk about that to wrap it up.
yeah.
That's where you coach and you also mentor other people right into the world of real estate.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I do. I mean, it all started about, 3.5, maybe 4 years ago. Not the big thing, but people were coming to my office and they're like, "Hey, Mark, let me pick your brain. I have a deal I want to run by you. I'm trying to get into fix and flipping, or it happens to you, like things like that." And then I was like, okay. And I would start setting appointments with people, and my whole days were starting to get booked with appointments. And this is free because I never charged for anything. It was
Right.
all free. And so then I said, let me get smart because it's taking a lot of my time and I'm not able to do deals. I can't meet with people, to make deals because I'm meeting with all these people to help them. And so what I did was I said, let's just meet once a week. I'm going to set all my appointments for the same time and everybody can come. And then in my conference room, and I'll answer questions for you. That way I can do it all at once instead of all these hours. So I thought I was being smart, but then my whole conference room was full and it was too much and they wouldn't leave. It was like 2, 3 hours of answering questions.
Right.
So I said, I'm going to do it once a month. And we had a room that fit like up to 40, 50 people. And I started doing it once a month. And then they were like, well, what is this event you're having? And I'm like, it's not an event. I'm just there available to answer questions. There was no topics or training. I would just show up and people would show up that wanted to ask me questions. And so that's how it kind of evolved. And since our mentality is different, and I kept saying, the 99% do this, we're the 1%. So then that's how we came up with the name, the 1% Club, the 1% Club, everything real estate. And now we have events once a month. It's kind of grown. We just had one a few days ago. Our new location is in City Center, our City Center at
Yeah.
the Marine Hotel. It's pretty nice. And so we're going to be doing that there every month, but it's free. Everything's free still. You come, we give as much value as you can. Now I do a lot of networking, so we do an hour of networking at the beginning from 6 to 7. So you come in, network everything, and then the training is from 7 to 8, 7 to 8:20.
Do
Yeah.
you have a date for the next one already?
What's that?
You do have a date for the next one?
No, no. Like I said, I wasn't, prepared, but we just had one and we had been looking for a place because we were doing it at at Quest Trust Company. So at Quest Trust is where we had our event once a
They
month and
sold
they
it. They
sold.
sold Quest. I don't know what they're doing with those offices now.
Yeah, so that's what happened. They sold it. So ever since then, for 2 months, we're trying to find a location and we just did. So this was our first event. We had just under 100 people there. So it was a pretty decent for not having one for a few months. And, we hope to build it up to 200 next year. And so, yeah, we'll post our new event at joinmarkguerra.com. That's our new website. And we put all the stuff on there on our calendar.
Joinmarkguerra.com. So,
Yeah,
um,
don't just put markguerra.com. Someone was like, a photography popped up. I was like, join,
yeah,
JOIN, join
I'm looking at the
markguerra.com.
website. That's a pretty cool website, man. Whoever
Yeah.
built it did a good job.
Yeah, I have some real good people now. Like I said, I don't know anything about all this stuff, like, social media and the websites and all that, but I have a big army now of people because this led into doing more like trainings. So what I do is I do a 8 week mentor class twice a year, and
Yep,
I only select 10 people, to do it twice a year. That one I do have one coming up is January 14th. Is the start of this next 8 week mentor class. And what the guys did for me, I was like, can't you just make it easy? Like one button that you push if you want or are interested in it instead of having to go to the website. So they made it kind of cool. VIP.joinmarkguerra.com. So if you type in VIP.joinmarkguerra.com, then a little thing pops up and it has a promo video that explains about the 8 week mentor program. And then you can click 8 week mentor program and put your information, and then you can schedule a interview because I select only 10 people, and then that's the next training thing that we have going on. It's 8 weeks long that we do. So
I love it, man, and I love your websites, Mark. They look pretty good. They I love the branding that you got. You know, my website is very my not my website, but my logo is very similar to yours.
I
Mark,
saw that.
yeah, they're like two R's, and, but it's all good, man.
We're very similar. Our stories are very similar. So yeah.
We got similar stories, and we are like minded, right? Like we like a lot of the same things. Real estate, network marketing, personal growth. I know my friend Portillo is working with you, and he loves it. I
Man,
haven't.
he's the best salesperson ever. He sold 3 houses this week. That
He's
guy.
amazing, man. Like Jose is amazing. I haven't seen him in a long time. I think the last time I saw him was at one of my events, but he used to go to my office a lot, and we will see how in ways how we could collaborate. But I think he found a right spot with you and your team. So sometimes that's what it takes. You have to go and try a lot of new things to see where you actually belong, right? Um, and when I remember when he told me that he started, uh, he didn't say he was working with you at the time. He said, I started like attending Mark's events and I said, man, you're in great hands. So just learn as much as you can and see what you can do with Mark because I know that everything that Mark gets involved with becomes a success. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. Thank you, Mark, for coming on to the podcast. March 14th and 15th in the Houston area, we're going to have the Real Estate Entrepreneurs podcast. And we're going to have Mr. Mark Guerra is going to be a speaker. I heard from people in the past when he spoke at one of my events that he was probably one of the best, like he was the best speaker at that event throughout the whole weekend. So, with that being said, thank you, Mark. If is there anything else you got to say to before we leave?
I just want to thank you. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast and your platform, and for inviting me to your event. I can't wait to share everything, and I definitely will share these new things that we have with the new homes. Like I said, it's all about giving more, and helping more people. So I appreciate you having me on here. Thank you for everything you do.
I appreciate you, brother. You'll have a great day. Bye.